At first glance, a mole rat might be mistaken for some oversized, mangy pig that wandered too close to a malfunctioning radiation emitter. About the size of a large dog, their rubbery, wrinkled skin and sparse patches of hair give them the appearance of something caught halfway through a nightmare and a biology experiment. Their eyes are vestigial at best, cloudy and sunken, useless in the light, but perfectly suited for their subterranean lives. But it's the teeth you'll remember most. Two massive yellowed incisors that jut out like bayonets, made for digging tunnels and, more often than not, for tearing through flesh. You'll find mole rats in nearly every corner of the wasteland, from the shattered tunnels of DC to the rust-red caverns beneath Appalachia. Their habitats are not chosen for comfort or safety, but for seclusion and access to soft, diggable earth. No place is too humble or too cursed for these creatures to call home. And when they do, they settle in numbers. One mole rat is rarely the problem. It's the pack that follows the first gnashing snout that turns a scavenger's lucky find into a bloodied sprint for survival. But the story of the mole rat is not merely one of menace. If anything, their endurance demands a kind of grim respect. These creatures, once small and near-blind burrowers in a world that barely noticed them, have clawed their way into dominance in the new ecology. Their original name years ago, before the Great War, was the naked mole rat, which scientists scientifically called the heterocephalus glaburn. There were once harmless rodents native to a faraway land, all the way in Africa. But after the bombs, radiation didn't just warp their bodies, it magnified every survival instinct they had. What emerged was a breed that refused to die. And the wastes, in their brutal honesty, rewarded that tenacity. Surprisingly, these little horrors are also dedicated parents. They'll throw themselves in front of danger to protect their pups, which is oddly noble for a creature that otherwise spends its life chewing on garbage and people's ankles. Mole rat families usually travel in tight-knit groups of 3 to 7, typically made up of 2 to 3 adults and a scatter of pups who have inherited their parents' love of biting strangers. Family units tend to be moderately chill. Well, as chill as mutated creatures can be. They'll mind their own business if you mind yours. But walk a little too close to the burrow, and you'll find out just how fast a so-called docile creature can turn aggressive. Another thing you need to learn about these creatures is that some mole rats are even stranger than the rest. The glowing variant, for example, emits a faint green light, likely a result of living in irradiated zones too toxic for most things to crawl through. They don't just bite, they radiate and can regenerate their energy if they stay close to a radiation source. Then there's the rabid mole rat, known to charge headlong into gunfire, as if fury alone could carry it through a hail of bullets. And mind you, these little not-so-friendly creatures are known to cause damage that fester whenever they bite the unlucky people they come across. And if you're particularly unfortunate, you might cross paths with the infected mole rats that lurk within the depths of Vault 81. These creatures are not merely another breed of the Wasteland's ever-growing collection of mutated vermin. They are the result of twisted experimentation and long years spent breeding in the sealed bowels of that underground vault. Unlike their already dangerous cousins roaming the wastes, these mole rats carry a virulent infection, one that seeps through their bites and claws with unsettling efficiency. However, the most chilling thing about mole rats is how they behave. They don't wander aimlessly. They dig. They wait. Then, without warning, they erupt from beneath your feet, a coordinated burst of gnashing teeth and angry squeals. Some say they're just animals, running on instinct and hunger. But if you've ever been circled by 5 of them, felt the earth tremble with their approach, and watched them fall back only to flank again, you begin to wonder whether something more is at play. Intelligence? Coordination? Or simply the ruthless elegance of evolution perfected by desperation? Children, oddly enough, tend to be fascinated by them. Maybe it's their grotesque appearance or their surprise attacks. Or maybe, to a child born into a world where monsters are more common than neighbors, a mole rat is just another thing to fear less than a death claw. Either way, you'll hear young ones in smaller settlements whispering tales of mud bears and dirt pigs, building legends around the pests that scratch at their walls. And still, they're not entirely without value. In the Wasteland, where every scrap of food matters, even a mole rat can keep a traveler alive. Their meat, once properly cooked, provides enough sustenance to hold off starvation. It's tough and carries the earthy taste of creatures that spend their lives burrowing through irradiated soil, but hunger has a way of making such details unimportant. Of course, mole rats live in contaminated ground, so their flesh often carries traces of radiation. It's usually not deadly in small amounts, but it's not something anyone would want to rely on too often. Still, when supplies run low and nothing else is on the menu, roasted mole rat remains a dependable meal for those trying to survive another day in the wasteland. But there's little whimsy to be found when a mole rat nest takes root beneath your home. They chew through foundations, collapse tunnels, breed endlessly if unchecked. And once entrenched, they're nearly impossible to root out fully. Every species has its limits, but mole rats haven't hit theirs yet. Cities grow, walls rise, weapons improve, but the mole rat endures. It endures because it does not care about boundaries or borders or legacy. It only cares about earth to dig, food to gnaw, and darkness to hide in. In a way, it's the perfect post-apocalyptic survivor, unlovely, unyielding, and utterly uninterested in the old world's definitions of value. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care.